Hey guys, Train Freak here, and it's time for my weekly layout update. I have laid track, and I've done a lot of electrical that you're really not going to be able to see until I show it to you. So before we get to it, I always like to remind all my viewers too, and fill in the bell so that way you get future notifications on all of my videos. And thumbs up helps out with the YouTube algorithms. So if you give me just a minute, I'll show you what all I've been working on, and I do have a channel shout out because they have actually helped me come up with a very good design based on a comment that they made on my last layout update. And I really want to thank his help because the options that I presented to him, he was very spot on giving me some good help, which correlated to his layout. So there will be a channel shout out coming here in a little bit. So let me show you what all I've done. Okay, so first, before I get into any of the details, I want to thank all of my extended supporters through my Patreon, my Teespring, and my PayPal.me for help continuing the progress of this channel. The money that y'all have donated, it just helps make it to where I can get materials at a quicker rate, so that way I can keep going for you and just showing off my knowledge and my how-tos and stuff as well. Also, I use that money to pour back into the community, because there's a couple of gondolas over there that I purchased to replace the 300 subscriber prize. So this is going towards the 400 subscriber prize, which we're getting very close. So without y'all's extra support, this channel would be progressing at a slower pace. So I really want to say thank you so much. I mean, it really helps. So let's look at some of the things I've done. I'm sure the wall looks kind of bare now because we did pull the cabinets down, and I did move those out to the shed. I am not planning on painting or cleaning that up because level 3 is going to be in the way, and I'm also going to have some backdrops, which will be on masonite. And if you're wondering how high is level 3 going, that line right there we go, that line, that's where the top of the 1x4 will be mounted and screwed in. And I'll have to get my 4-foot level and continue drawing that out. So, other than that, let's talk about some buildings. And before I do it, there's the prizes for the 400 subscriber for HO. If you were in scale or O scale, it's the same prizes that was in the 300 subscriber contest. So you can go back and look at that and you'll see what those prizes are. But here's the 400 for HO. Alright y'all, I'm going to try not to shake the camera too much when I do this. But here's Riceland. Alright, so the way I did it, just the silos. Ignore everything on the top and ignore the grain elevator and the truck bay over there. This was Walder's grain elevator kit. It was like the ADM grain elevator. And then I got the extra silos, the add-on. And so I painted the silos white. And what I did then was I took a tape measure and I measured from the top of this one down here 4 inches. I did the same over there 4 inches. After doing this, I probably should only came down 3 inches. But I'm happy with it. This was my first attempt at doing it this way. And if you want to make one too, this is just kind of how I did it. I took some vinyl letters. They're 2-inch letters. And once I got my 4 inches, I put in a piece of blue painter's tape all the way across, straight, from mark to mark. And I took the vinyl letters and I lined them up. The bottom of the letter was literally touching the blue painter's tape. It was butted up to it. Then I took that piece of tape off and I measured a ½ inch on the sides of each letter. Well, the R and the D on the sides, and the top and the bottom on the R and D. And then masked those marks off. And basically I put painter's tape over the whole silos. So that way I didn't have any backfeed or backsplash from the blue that you see. And this is called ink blue. It's from Rust-Oleum. It's a I don't have the cans in front of me, but it's called ink blue, and I really like it. It's a good deep blue. And then while the paint was still wet, I went ahead and pulled the letters off. And yeah, my hands kind of looked like I was Papa Smurf there for a little bit, because some of them letters did not want to come off, but I got them off, and I did have to go back and do some touch-ups. But I mean, that's part of it. But I feel like for my first attempt, I did a very good job at it. And if I do get disgusted with it over time, I can always turn it around and do attempt number 2. So, I still got to paint the elevator. I did paint one side, and I just did it kind of as a test. And I'm going to reach and show you what I did. I took some cardstock, measured exactly out the size of the windows there. The windows are still glued in. And I stuck the cardstock in there, and I went ahead and painted it. I haven't taken the cardstock out yet. But that side is painted. But I just kind of wanted to see how it worked, if the cardstock would hold up. And I actually did take it out because I did give it 2 coats. I took it out on the first one, and when I took it out, I had some issues with them wanting to fold over and stick to the building, and then when I tried to prime off the building, it messed my paint job up, so that's why I had to do a second coat. But I mean, you can see that's a lot of windows to do on that side, and that side, and I even have a couple up here that are covered up. But that's one of the things that I do want to get done, hopefully here pretty soon, because it's starting to get really cold and wet. It rained this morning, and it's just not been cool. But Riceland also did not have silver buildings here that go on top of the silos. Theirs were actually white as well. So I'm going to have to cover these windows up with cardstock and get those white too. Alright, let's go on to Passmore Gas Company. It is there. Done. My buddy John Goforth is actually going to give me, or scratch build me, a little office. This did not come as the Central Gas and Supply. This was the Propane Tanks add-on, which they were very kind enough to give me the pump house, except for the roof. So go figure, Walters. But those are the 2 buildings that I have worked on, and as far as how I painted this, I painted the whole thing. But originally, I painted it black while it was still in the sprue. Don't do that. But after having to fix everything, I painted the whole thing black. I taped off the centerpiece and painted the ends green. And I actually made a stencil on Microsoft Word that was the actual stencil font. It's a 36 font. And printed it out on letter paper, and I cut it out with a X-Acto knife. And I mean, it looks pretty good to me. There is a little smudging in the middle, but you know what? That kind of gives it a weathering effect. Like these tanks have been out there for a while. So, and I know real propane tanks are not black. I get it. I wanted something that kind of popped out and was an eye catcher. Because, I mean, that's an eye catcher because it's big. But that's not really an eye catcher unless I paint it some weird colors. So, for you rivet counters out there, I get it. So, these are typically white or light gray to reflect sun during the summer months. I understand. So, but yeah. But I went ahead and glued it to a sheet of styrene, everything, because the pipes are so delicate. And if I have to move it, I just wanted to move everything as one solid piece. So, so those are the 2 buildings that I have been working on. That's going to be Juicy J's Meat Company back there. So let's get to the track. And John Arthur, if you have not subscribed to his channel, I got a card up here, and his channel link's in the description below because it's very hard to find. He made a comment on my last video about, I was talking about doing 2 of these tracks. One for arrival, one for departure. He said I really needed to go 4 tracks. So that way the local could feed more cars and take more cars back. And I agreed with him on that. And I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to have enough room for 4 tracks because I plan on having a curved turnout back here, which you can see where I originally drew the line. But I'm actually going to be able to move that back farther. So that's going to allow me enough room for 4 tracks. And, but one of the things that he mentioned, in his comment is to make sure that if I have a runaround, which I'm going to need a runaround for those 3 industries, that it's long enough to do more than 1 car at a time. He said otherwise it gets annoying trying to run around cars. Here was my original thought. Instead of this being a right-handed turnout, it was actually going to be a lefty, and it was just going to go straight over here to that right-handed turnout there. And originally that was not going to be a Y. That Y was actually going to be a left-handed turnout. So a number 6 left, so the curvature would have been better. But he actually wanted to know what my plan was, and when I reached out to him and I showed him a couple of options, what I thought I mind. One which I just explained to you. The other one being was taking it and making a run around here and then merging it back in front of the single slip. And actually it would have been in front of the single slip. There was actually another switch here that was going to go to the track that this one's coming off of, which would go to the curved turnout. And he actually said, well, what you need to do is this and this and this and this. And I'm really glad I took his advice on it, because now, depending on the length of the cars, I can get anywhere from 3 to 5 cars in this runaround track, which would be here. So let me explain all the trackage real quick so that way you understand it too. This piece right here is what's going to go to the curved turnout, which you cannot see, but you can see where I drew a curve. The curved turnout, and that's going to go to this little slip of paper, which represents fresh and funky produce. That's actually going to be big. I think it's Big Jim's Trucking, which is a backdrop building from Walder's. I thought that would be a good one. And then I've got a building from Menards, which is the Morton Salt, which will go right here. So, train doesn't have to be run around on that one. Train will pull up, which would be that dude. Pull up, pull into the not mounted track on the back side of the A and B unit, which will curve over to Peckerwood Sawmill. And it's going to back in, and it would just back in on this track and back that way. Okay? And if he pulls up, pull in, and then back into the interchange here. Sorry if I'm moving around, y'all. I'm trying to do the best I can without using a tripod so you can see it. This track here, no industries on it. It's literally just going to be a track that's going to go all the way to the wall over there. And it's designed to feed these 3 industries. Gotta have it. From the top of the single slip, we'll feed that piece of paper over there, which represents the Shack-A-Set Furniture Company. I cannot remember the name of the building kit, but I know it had something to do, some type of furniture company from Walder's. It was another background building that I really liked. And so I went with it. Which the train doesn't have to run around, because instead of backing the cars in this track, it's going to back it in that track. But as far as feeding these 3 industries, we got Riceland, Passmore Gas, and Juicy J's Meat, which Juicy J's will have 2 tracks. The train's going to back whatever cars need to in this track. It's going to pull up, run around on this track, go straight through that switch, come in this way, come this way, take the single slip into this track, connect. It's going to pull all the cars back out that way. and probably before it pulls all the cars out, it's going to need to empty the industries first. So it'll probably, as it runs around, before it connects, it's going to go and connect to all of the cars up in here that need to come out and stage them on this track. Then he's going to pull and spot whatever cars need to be spotted. And then he can run around on this track, pick up the other cars, and drop back off in. Also, there might be a track over in the Peckerwood sawmill that is going to require a run around, and these tracks can do that as well. So that way I've only got one run around and not two. So John Arthur, I would like to say a lot of thanks on that. And if you're wondering as far as the local coming in, local comes in off of this track after servicing a couple of industries that are going to be over in here. Gamer and Thrones, which makes toilets, and the Tetanus Scrap Company, which will be a scrapyard. And of course all the industries on level 3, as the Helix will be over there. And I haven't got that far yet. So as far as level 3 goes, I know it's going to be my city and there will be industries, but I don't know exactly what all yet. I got an idea, but you know, ideas can always change. Local's going to come off of this track because this track goes to staging. He's going to take the double crossover. Instead of taking the next crossover, he's just going to go straight back in on the crossover, drop off any cars that go on 1 and 2, and pick up any cars that are on 3 and 4. So, and it could change because 3 and 4 is actually going to be a lot shorter. So it could be he might be dropping off 2 and 3 and picking up 1 and 4, which would actually give a good average on the total length of tracks. So, haven't got that far yet. No decision on it. You know, if you got a suggestion, feel free to let me know. But just to give you a good view of what the layout looks like, there you go. Over here where the red switcher is, we got a couple of number 4s. Number 4s are okay for industry. I'm fine with that. This is going to go to Passmore Gas. It's going to kind of parallel these two tracks, but it's going to go over there. This track, you can see, is going to the Riceland Mill. Straight track will run over to Juicy J's, which I'll have another number 4 right in over there to separate for the cattle and sheep drop-offs, and probably swine as well, or hogs, whatever you want to call it. We could be like France, and you know, they eat horse meat, which I think is very weird. But hey, I mean, that's an option too. Sorry for you horse lovers out there. I mean, I like horses too, so, but not to eat. And then of course this section here would be where it would pick up with the reefer cars and send the meat products on out. So that's my thoughts or my ideas on it. Other than that, the other things that we have worked on, I had my wife's uncle help me with this, is you probably noticed not that this room is a whole lot cleaner, except for certain areas that looks like mountains of junk, but he gave me new lighting. Instead of, this is what was actually on the ceiling. Instead of that, which is LED, I've got that. It's a 2-foot bar, and it's actually color changing as far as like the degrees. There's another one over there. I got these right now set to 5000K, which is daylight, but I could drop it to 3000 or 4000, but I'm just going to leave it on 5000. There's no point, if you're running a model railroad, to have it on 4K or 3K. 3K, I guess, would be okay to simulate, like maybe early in the morning or late in the afternoon, kind of like at dusk. Dawn and dusk, maybe. But daylight's at 5000K. So, and then the other thing we did, which is going to be hard to show. Well, let me just do this. I'm going to pause this video, and because I got to pull all this stuff out so that way I can show you what else we did. So hold up. Alright, y'all, so this is the last of it. Comes to find out, we had a 40 amp breaker on the back side, or the outside panel, electrical panel, that was not being used at all. it actually ran inside to my laundry room, which is where my electrical panels are for the inside. And comes to find out, it was an outlet that we never used. It looked like a dryer could hook up to it, and it might have been where the dryer in the past did hook up to, but my dryer's hooked into another 40 amp circuit. So we disconnected it, and we tied off of it from the outside of the building. And so this curved pipe coming in is actually wires coming from that 40 amp circuit, which we did tie into one in the hot. So there's only one hot running there. One hot, one coming, one ground. If you're wondering what type of cable, it's called 10-2. But it runs into this little breaker box. And I've got two breakers. I've got a 15 and a 20. And we've got a pair going to one of the outlets is for the 15, which is the bottom outlet, and the top outlet is for the 20. So this is going to be for the layout. One is going to be for the lighting. One is going to be for all the electrical devices. I'm not quite sure which one should go on to which. I'm thinking the lighting goes to the 15, and all of my layout stuff, such as the laptop, the commute, for JMRI, the DCC controller, and all the other extra peripherals for like lighting the buildings or scenery stuff, powering these dudes through the Switch 8 machines or Switch 8 cards. I'm thinking all that needs to go into the 20 amp circuit. If you're an electrician like Sparky 107, let me know your suggestions as to which one should get what. But the outlets I did put out here because I do have humidity. I don't know if it'll zoom in or not. But they actually have, sorry y'all, inside here it's like a little plastic, and that's to prevent moisture from getting in. So I know it's kind of fuzzy, so let me back out a little bit. Maybe it'll focus in. Probably not. Oh well. If you're wondering what the air duct is for, that actually, come on camera, you could do a better job than this. There it goes. The white thing over there, that's actually my AC unit, and that is for the exhaust. And I just hooked in under the layout in the back corner. A dryer vent going outside, and that dryer vent, it exhausts my heat from the AC unit's compressor out. So now what I got to do is take that cable there, which goes to that light switch, which lights up the bottom of the layout. I'm going to have to route that to down in here. And then one of the other things we found out is the system is plugged into that outlet up there. Yeah, that is tied into my kitchen, which has the microwave, the refrigerator, and the convection oven and coffee pot. So it'd probably be a good idea to get this off of that. Yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. So, but this is mainly all, it was a big undertaking. We did work on something else with the lighting too. There was a light switch on the other side of the door. And I'm going to zoom in, but you might be able to see it. There's two light switches there. The one on the right goes to the floodlight on the outside, but the one on the left, we could not figure out what it went to. Well, it originally had a bad light switch, or a bad switch, and I guess the people that were here before me did not know that the light switch inside the kitchen was a three-way, and they couldn't get it figured out, and did not know that the hots ran to that light switch first. So no matter which way this light switch is ran, because it's a three-way light switch, this is all new concept for me. Whenever you change one or the other, they both have to either be on or both have to be off, or both up or both down in order for it to work, for the lights to be on. So no matter which one you change, the lights will either turn on or turn off. We actually got that troubleshooted and wired back too. So now, if I want to come and shut the layout off, I can try to squeeze, or shut the lights to the garage off. I could try to squeeze through the garage door and turn my light off if I wanted to. But I'm probably not going to. But that was the other thing we worked on. So, I think it's a lot well lit. You know, and I might go back and change these. And I think I might have told you 2 foot earlier. These are actually 4 footers. Sorry. I might go double bulb, you know, to get it even brighter in here. And I might put those out to my shed. We got electrical out there, but we just got it into the building. We basically installed a breaker box just like this here, but we only ran 20 amps out there, so because it's only a 10 by 16, it's not. This layout here is 18.5 by. If I include the length of the staging yard, it's 18.5 by 18. If I do not include the staging, then it's 18.5 by 16. So, and I'm thinking about trying to find a way to extend staging out a little bit farther, but I'm still in the works on that. So, all right, y'all. Well, I'm pretty much done as far as my update goes. I think we're kind of over 20 minutes already. So, and I need to get that mess, or not that mess. It's not really a mess, but I need to get all that stuff back up under in that storage compartment. So I'm going to let y'all have at it. Like I said, thank you again, supporters through Patreon, Teespring, PayPal.me. If you would like to become an extended supporter, the links are down in the description below with different ways that you can get involved with my channel. And, you know, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I mean, that's really the first thing you should do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then fill in the bell so that way you get notifications on your smartphones and tablets as I keep coming out with videos. And of course, you know, Sidetrack Sunday, I'm on every third Sunday as the host for Sidetrack Sunday. And, you know, we got John, Heath, and Ray in there too. And then, of course, if we ever have a 5th Sunday like today, we had Rick Bailey today. But January will be our next 5th Sunday, and we haven't figured out who it's going to be. We might let Rick go again. We might toss another name out there and see if anybody else is interested. So, but yeah, definitely, you know, make sure the bell's filled in. And then what helps with YouTube's algorithms is, you know, thumbing up the video. Thumbing it up, thumbing down. YouTube looks at it as, you know, you're being involved with the channel. So, feel free to do either or. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't like what you see. And then, you know, feel free to comment. You know, if you got suggestions, hey, John Arthur put a good one out there. And me and him, you know, we shared ideas, and I literally took his suggestion and I'm running with it. So, I'm always up for suggestions. So, alright, y'all. Well, y'all be safe out there. I hope you have a great week. And happy railroading.